And this one is probably the craziest. Probably a lot of you did not know this. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Kat and I am a flight attendant for a major US airline. So in today's video, we are going to be covering 15 different things that you probably didn't know about flight attendants, things that are going to definitely surprise you. But before we get into that, if you are not following me over on Instagram, go follow my Instagram. If you're not following me on my eyelash Instagram, go follow that. But also, I am now finally on Twitter. I know it's 10 years too late and everybody's hopping over on TikTok, which I do have a TikTok that I don't really use much, but I do have a TikTok, so you can go follow that as well. So make sure you are going and following all my social medias to be a part of the big Cat family. What is it called, like a litter or something? And also while you're at it, be sure to press that subscribe button down below. This is not your first video, it's not gonna be your last video, so just go ahead and support me and help my channel by pressing that button and turning on the bell. That way you can be notified every single time I post a video. But okay, let's do it. Let's get into 15 things that are probably gonna blow your mind about flight attendants. Okay, so number one, unless we are based at an airport or we have previously been based at an airport, we have no idea where anything is. We are basically going to just be following the signs of ground transportation or baggage claim or whatever it is. So when y'all stop us and ask like, hey, do you know where such and such is? Chances are we have no idea at all. So number two, our flight crew, usually we have no idea who we're flying with. Most of the time we do not know the flight attendants that we are flying with, and chances are we probably met them the day that you're seeing us. Like, we just met them that day and now we have to all coexist and work together because there are so many flight attendants. I know with my company alone, I think we have 27,000 flight attendants, something around there, all at different bases. Plus, just at my base alone, there are so many flight attendants. So unless you're really with a regional airline, which even with a regional airline, you may not know who you're flying with, chances are we have no idea and we just met them. Which brings me over to number three. Not only do we usually not know the flight attendants who we're flying with, a lot of times we do not know the pilots. So back in the day, flight attendants and pilots actually used to stay together as one big crew for the entire trip. But that is no longer the case anymore. I think only a few regional airlines would do that, but most major airlines don't do that. A lot of times we are actually switching pilots on every single leg, no joke. So in a range of a 3 or 4 day trip, almost every single leg that you're gonna be doing, which is like one flight, new set of pilots. Which is why it is so important that we do briefings before every single flight, every time we have new crews, so we all know how things are gonna operate very, very smoothly, which is why when we come in on a delayed flight, you may not be able to board right away because we might actually be switching crew. So we have to do a full brief together as a crew whenever we have any new crew members come on board. So yeah, not only do we not know the flight attendants, chances are we don't know the pilots either. Now number four, a lot of flight attendants actually do not live where they are based. So they might have an entire different city that they are living in from where they are actually based. And most of the time it's not even in the same state. So for example, if you are a subscriber of this channel, you probably know that I was based in Charlotte, and for a long time that I was based in Charlotte, I was actually living in Dallas. So I had to commute from Dallas up to Charlotte before I had to work. So if you want to see what commuting is like, you can go check out this vlog. I'll have it linked here and also down below for you to click, and you can see exactly what it's like to be a commuting flight attendant, which you're gonna find out it is not always glamorous. A lot of times we have to give ourselves 2 flights before we can even get into base, just to make sure we have a buffer zone to get there. So you could be sitting at the airport for 2+ hours before you even start your trip. Not the most glamorous side, but we do it. So a lot of times commuting can actually even feel like a second job because you have to go fly to base and then go work your trips and then fly back home and rearrange it all perfectly so it fits very smoothly with your schedule. Which brings me over to number 5. Most of the time when you see us, you are not our first flight of the day and you are not gonna be our last flight of the day. So flight attendants can fly anywhere from like 1 to, I would say, 6 flights in a day. Like, there's a wide range of flights that we can have. 5 and 6 are usually more for regional airlines, or a lot of times on the East Coast, there's so many airports up and down. So you could be going up, down, up, down, up, down, which is so much boarding and deplaning. But yeah, most of the time when y'all see us, we've already been flying and we're gonna continue to fly on. Okay, so for number 6, flight attendants are not immune to jet lag, not at all. So it may seem like we get well adjusted to flying, which is pretty true. We do adjust well to flying because we fly so much in a day, but we are definitely not immune to jet lag, especially on those transcontinental flights. So anything going over to Europe or Asia or Australia or any of those kinds of flights, they're exhausting for us. A lot of times the flight attendant will actually have a system that works best for them. So for example, for myself, a lot of times when I go do, let's say, a London flight, the first thing I do when I get to that hotel room is take a quick nap. It's usually around like a 2 to 3 hour nap just to get it in, and then it's the most painful part, but I force myself to get up and continue on with my day. That way I can be better adjusted for when I have to take the flight back, because we have stayed up all night long flying. So in order to kind of compensate for the jet lag, every flight attendant has their own system that seems to work best for them, but we are not immune, not at all. Okay, so number 7, many flight attendants go to training, which can last anywhere from 3.5 to 6 to 8 weeks. And within that time, in the whole entire training process, we almost never learn about service. So actually serving the passengers is like the last thing we're learning. Almost everything in that period actually has to do with emergency situations, medical situations, and things like that. Most of service we don't even learn until you're actually on the plane. It's pretty wild. They just throw you to the wolves, but everybody is really nice in helping you out. But they do tell you that in training. Like, most stuff you're gonna learn as far as service goes is actually gonna be learned on the line. Which would make number 8 very obvious. Our primary job is not to serve passengers. It's not service at all. Our primary job is actually to manage the cabin. So we are primarily there for your safety. Service is just that added bonus that you get on the flight, but we are there to help the captain and the first officer by managing the cabin. So we take care of the cabin, they take care of the flight deck, and we communicate very well together, and that's how we have such a smooth operation on planes. Service is just that extra little you get in the flight. Okay, so number 9, this one scares me a little bit because I know some people get very upset about this. Some people are very adamant about this, but it's true. Flight attendants are not supposed to lift your luggage. It's not in our job description, and we are actually told not to do it. A lot of people pack very heavy nowadays, and those suitcases get very heavy. And if I lift a luggage and I put it in the overhead bin and injure myself in that process, we are going to be short a crew member. So for the safety of the crew, we are not supposed to lift luggage. Anybody who has any issues lifting luggage or stowing luggage, we will gladly check that for you to your final destination, but we are actually told not to help lift luggage. I'm scared for this one in the comment section. I know this one upsets a lot of people, but it's true. Sorry. Okay, so number 10. I get asked this one so many times, and it's, do flight attendants pay for their hotels? And the answer is no, we do not pay for our hotels, except when you are a commuter and then you didn't get a trip or something like that and you need to stay in base, then that will be the hotel you are responsible for paying by yourself because you chose to live out of base. The company did not choose that for you. So if you do choose to live out of base, and you do have to get what is known as a commuter hotel, which I will pop this video up, which explains what commuter hotels are and everything that you need to know about commuter hotels. But no, other than that, we do not pay for hotels. They are provided, but we do pay for our own food. I get asked that one as well. We do not pay for hotels, but we do pay for our own food. Number 11, and I don't care if it's your first day as a flight attendant, I know you have been asked this by a passenger. I know it. We have all been asked this. We get asked this almost every single day, and that is, can you tell our gate to wait for me? Can you hold our gate? Can you tell the plane like we're on our way? And no, I'm so sorry. We actually have no contact with them until we're in the airport, just like you. So we cannot hold your gate for you. It's not even possible. A lot of times the gate agents can see that you have landed and that you are getting there, but we cannot call them to hold the plane or hold the flight for you. I do know that they will hold flights when there's a lot of people that were delayed. So if there have been storms going on, a lot of times they will hold flights if there's like so many passengers missing. But flight attendants themselves cannot contact gate agents or contact anybody to get the plane held for you. Sorry. Number 12, it may seem when you are boarding that we're kind of judging you or checking you out whenever we're greeting passengers, and I can totally see this. And in a little bit, we kind of are. We kind of are. So during boarding, we are supposed to be looking for passengers that we think will be really good candidates to help us in emergencies. So that may be why we are checking you out or looking at you. Maybe we're looking to see if you have flip-flops or tennis shoes, or if you were previous military or things like that. We are kind of checking you out and we are kind of judging you, but not necessarily in a negative way. We're just looking for passengers that are going to be very, very good candidates to help us in emergencies. Number 13, we actually know a lot more about our passengers than it may appear. So in our flight attendant tablets, we can see quite a bit about passengers. So when you're over there moving seats and we can see it in our tablet, we're like, sorry, did you move seats? Is this your original seat? And you're like, no, this is my seat. We can see when that's not true. We can also see like where you're coming and going, among other things. So we definitely know more about you than you probably would know. Number 14, when we have any kind of delay, whether it's maintenance, weather, or whatever, we are just as frustrated, if not more, than you are. Like, because remember, we have multiple flights in a day, so it's kind of a domino effect. Unless there's like a sit time in between, when you have one delayed flight, that's gonna go into the next, and then that layover just really starts to shrink down. So you might have plans on your layover, or you might just wanted to sleep and get a good night's rest, and suddenly your layover went from this to this very, very quickly. So yeah, when you're frustrated, we're frustrated too. Plus, what a lot of you don't know is we actually get paid when that flight door closes, and some airlines actually get paid when it's wheels up. So if that front door is not closed, we are not getting paid. So we want to be in the air and on our layover even more than you probably do. Okay, and last but not least, number 15, and this one is probably the craziest, probably a lot of you did not know this, is flight attendants cannot pronounce anyone dead on our planes. So even though a flight attendant may suspect that somebody is deceased, we cannot pronounce them deceased. That is out of our responsibilities. They cannot be pronounced deceased until they are back on the ground. So crazy enough, if the entire plane is full of passengers and there is no way to place this person that we suspect may be deceased, a lot of times they have to go right back into their original seat. Pretty wild. Pretty wild, but I hope you guys did enjoy this. I hope you learned some interesting stuff about flight attendants. Please give this video a big old thumbs up if you did, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.